Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 13, verse number 27. Ete vai maitila rajan atmavidya visharada yogeshwara prasadena dvandvair mukta gruheshvapi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Shukadev Goswami said, My dear King Parikshit, all the kings of the dynasty of Mithila were completely in knowledge of their spiritual identity. Therefore, even though staying at home, they were liberated from the duality of material existence. Purport. This material world is called Dvaita or duality. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, chapter 4, 176 verse, says, Dvaite badra badra jnana sava manodharma e bhala e manda e sabha brahma. In the world of duality, that is to say, in the material world, so-called goodness and badness are both the same. Therefore, in this world, to distinguish between good and bad, happiness and distress is meaningless because they are both mental concoctions, manodharma. Because everything here is miserable and troublesome. To create an artificial situation and pretend it to be full of happiness is simply illusion. The liberated person, being above the influence of the three modes of material nature, is unaffected by such dualities in all circumstances. He remains Krishna conscious by tolerating so-called happiness and distress. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agamapayino anityas tam stitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Those who are liberated, being on the transcendental platform of rendering service to the Lord, do not care about so-called happiness and distress. They know that these are like changing seasons, which are perceivable by contact with the material body. Happiness and distress come and go. Therefore, a Pandita, a learned man, is not concerned with them. As it is said, Gatasu nagatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. The body is dead from the very beginning because it is a lump of matter. It has no feelings of happiness and distress because the soul within the body is in the bodily concept of life. He suffers happiness and distress, but these come and go. It is understood herewith that the kings born in the dynasty of Mithila were all liberated persons, unaffected by the so-called happiness and distress of this world. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose. So, Hare Krishna. So, this chapter of 9th canto, it is describing the descendants of dynasty of Mithila, where Janaka Maharaj was also there, with the father of Mother Sita. Previous classes you might have heard pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. So now descendants are the dynasty of Mithila, where King Janaka was born. So their history has been given in the last verse of this chapter. So, and it is described as this dynasty is originating from the Maharaj Nimi. This chapter is titled The Dynasty of Maharaj Nimi. So I'll just go through how the brief history is given. So the starting, it is said, Srila Shukadev Goswami said, after beginning sacrifices, Maharaj Nimi, the son of Ikshvaku, requested the great sage Vasishta to take the post of chief priest. At that time, Vasishta replied, My dear Maharaj Nimi, I have already accepted the same post in a sacrifice begun by Lord Indra. So Vasishta was actually a priest, a spiritual master for Maharaj Nimi. Generally in the kings, they will have advisors or Raj Guru for guiding them. So he requested, but Vasishtha has already accepted some post for the sacrifice begun by Lord Indra. So he says, I shall return here after finishing the yajna for Indra. Kindly wait for me until then. Maharaj Nimi remained silent and Vasishtha began to perform the sacrifice for Lord Indra. So Lord Indra means it is a heavenly planet. Maharaj Nimi is in the earthly planet. So Maharaj Nimi being a self-realized soul. So this is a qualification we have to remember. Maharaj Nimi is already a self-realized soul. So consider that this life is flickering. Therefore, instead of waiting long for Vasishtha, he began performing the sacrifice with other priests. With the help of other priests, he started began. Because heavenly time and earthly time there's a difference. In heavenly time, few days, one day, it is said, it is 1 day of heaven is 1 year of this earth. So therefore, Maharaj Nimi, being a self-realized soul, he continued thinking that any time life can be gone in this. So after completing the sacrificial performance for King Indra, the spiritual master Vasishtha returned and found that his disciple Maharaj Nimi had disobeyed his instructions. Thus Vasishtha cursed him, saying, May the material body of Nimi, who considers himself learned, immediately fall. So like this, the Vasishtha, sage Vasishtha cursed. Next, interesting thing happens. For unnecessarily cursing him when he had committed no offense. So Prabhupada is writing this translation. Actually, Maharaj Nimi had not committed any offense, but still unnecessarily cursing him. Maharaj Nimi counter-cursed his spiritual master. For the sake of getting contributions from the King of Heaven, he said, You have lost your religious intelligence. Therefore, I pronounce this curse. Your body also will fall. So they both each other curse. But here we should note, here the Vasishtha's qualification, Prabhupada writes in the purport, although he was a great sage, but he was not a pure devotee. He became greedy for the remunerations that he may receive. And also it is a very exalted post to become the priest of King Indra. So he had neglected Maharaj Nimi's, although he was the priest of Maharaj Nimi, but he neglected and he went there. So therefore, although Prabhupada is writing, although he had not committed any offense, Maharaj Nimi was unnecessarily cursed. So therefore, Maharaj Nimi also counter-cursed. So after saying this, Maharaj Nimi, who was expert in the science of spiritual knowledge, gave up his body. Vasishtha, the great-grandfather, gave up his body also. But through the semen discharged by Mitra and Varuna, when they saw Urvashi, he was born again. So during the performance of the yajna, the body relinquished by Maharaj Nimi was preserved in fragrant substances. And at the end of the Satra Yaga, the great saints and Brahmanas made the following request to all the demigods assembled there. If you are satisfied with this sacrifice, and if you are actually able to do so, kindly bring Maharaj Nimi back to life in this body. The demigod said yes to this request by the sages, but Maharaj Nimi said, please do not imprison me again in a material body. So here we can see the destination of sage Vasishtha as well as Maharaj Nimi. So although some incident happened regarding performing the sacrifices and they counter-cursed each other, and because of their qualification, what is the different destinations they attained? So sage Vasishtha was born again because he was influenced by greed. Although he is a very great sage sometimes, but he is not 100% purified. So therefore, because of losing that religious intelligence due to the influence of greed, he has to take birth again. But Maharaj Nimi, although he has relinquished his body, although demigods and the other priests helped, preserved that body, and they requested that he can again be revived in the same body. But Maharaj Nimi rejected because he's already self-realized soul, that we saw in the beginning of this chapter, that Maharaj Nimi's qualification is already self-realized soul. So he is saying, don't imprison me again in this body. So then further Nimi continues. He says, Mayavadis generally want freedom from accepting a material body because they fear having to give it up again. But devotees whose intelligence is always filled with the service of the Lord are unafraid. Indeed, they take advantage of the body to render transcendental loving service. So, Maharaj Nimi is fully self-realized. So, he's saying Mayavadis means impersonalists. They want liberation. Why? Because if we accept body, definitely we have to give up one day. And death is very, very painful. So therefore they don't want to take the body, the material body, and merge in the impersonal Brahmajyoti. But here, devotees whose intelligence is always filled with the service of the Lord, such devotees. So they are unafraid because any body, either spiritual body or material body, they'll be always rendering service. So if you see this purport, Prabhupada writes, so how different devotees have expressed sentiments in different parts of the scriptures. Just like Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, my Lord, if you want me to take birth and accept a material body again, kindly do me this favor. Allow me to take birth in the home of your servant. Your servant, your devotee. I do not mind being born there even as an insignificant creature like an insect. So this is the prayer by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur in contrast to impersonalists. Impersonalists, they don't want to take birth in any body. But here devotees, because if their intelligence is always filled of rendering service to the Lord, they don't mind taking birth as an insect in the house of a devotee. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also has expressed. What is that verse? In Shikshashtaka it is there. Nadhanam najanam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhakti rahituki tvai. That means he is saying mama janmani janmanishware. He is not even asking liberation from this world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, I don't want na dhanam, wealth, na janam, means followers, na sundarim, beautiful wife, kavitam, means somebody praising, oh you are so wonderful, like that, and jagadisha kamaye, becoming the controller of Jagadisha. All these things I don't want. Mama janmani janmanishwari, life after life, I just want to serve you. So therefore, these are the sentiments expressed by the devotees. Why? Because if one has a strong desire to serve the Lord, even if he accepts a material body, there is no cause of anxiety, since a devotee in a material body is a liberated soul. So this is the situation. Why devotee, it is said, a devotee, when he is rendering service to the Lord, if he is engaged in transcendental service of the Lord, that means he is already liberated. And that Srila Rupa Goswami is confirming this in the verse, Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira nikhilashvapi avastasu jivan muktasa uchyate. So this is a definition of jivan mukta. Means a person acting in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, in the service of Krishna, with his body, mind, intelligence and words, is a liberated person even within the material world, although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities. So, because rendering service to the Lord, actually it is on the spiritual platform, not on the material platform. That is the understanding. And the desire to serve the Lord establishes one as liberated in any condition of life, whether in a spiritual body or a material body. So, this is a very distinct condition, because sometimes we may think, I am so okay, if you don't desire liberation, if I am again taking birth again and again, so what happens? Because if you are in this material world, definitely we have to go through the world of duality. There is sometimes happiness and sometimes distress. So many different miserable situations we have to go through. Then how will I get the spiritual happiness, or how can I serve the Lord? So actually, we have to understand very carefully. On the material platform or mental platform, there is this duality. But on the spiritual platform, there is no duality. If a person who is constantly engaged in the service of the Lord, so that means he is situated in the liberated condition. He is situated on the spiritual platform. So such a self-realized soul, when he is engaged in the service of the Lord, it doesn't matter, because there is body level, mental level, intellectual, then ego, then soul, spiritual platform. So when he is engaged in the service of the Lord, actually that is a position of the, that is a constitutional position of the soul, being always engaged in the service of the Lord. So he engages his body, mind, intelligence, words. That's what it is said. Rupa Goswami is saying, one who is engaging his body, mind, intelligence, words, such a person is liberated. So now we may think, I don't think I am liberated, although I may be rendering some services. So here, that is why very important, karmana manasa gira, body level, mental level, intelligence level, and even the ego, identity. Ego means identity. I will give you an example. We are chanting Hare Krishna mantra. That is also rendering service. So when we are chanting, although our body, our lips, voice, everything is coming, the sound is coming, but ear is not hearing. Our mind is somewhere else. So therefore we cannot experience it. But sometimes we do experience, like Prabhupada said recently, some class we are hearing, like one devotee says, Prabhupada, sometimes I am in Maya. But Prabhupada says, no, you are not sometimes in Maya, you are sometimes in Krishna consciousness. So that means sometimes we also are able to do a little properly. That time, a glimpse, a little bit of what is that spiritual taste we can experience. And or sometimes it may be prasadam or mercy of the Lord also, because since we are engaged, although we may be improperly engaged or improperly performing, Lord blesses with some spiritual mercy. So that's how somehow it keeps us going. Okay, this is very nice, we want to continue. So therefore, our body, mind, intelligence, everything should be in line with the service of the Lord. Our body somehow is rendering service, but in mind we are thinking, oh, what is this? I have to do all. Or if you are not very happy doing that, then there is a split. So therefore, the full benefit we may not get, although there is no loss. Somehow, because Prabhupada said, when Prabhupada asked them to chant 16 rounds, someone told Prabhupada, first I will learn to do one round very nicely, fully attentively, then 2 rounds. Like that, somebody was giving some logic. What is the use? 16 rounds, simply I am chanting, not able to hear. Prabhupada at that time told, first learn to do, then quality comes. First achieve the quantity, somehow first engage the body in the service of the Lord. Then slowly mind will align, then intelligence will align, then finally the identity, that I am the servant of Lord, so I have to engage in this service. So then automatically everything will be in line. Because if you keep waiting for the perfect situation to come, or when I achieve complete quality, then only I will chant 16 rounds, then it will be never achieved. Because our body, mind, intelligence, even our soul is constantly influenced by the 3 modes of material nature. So if we don't engage ourselves in spiritual activities, certainly we'll be engaged in other material activities. Nobody can be free. So when we are engaged like that, um, definitely where is the question of achieving quality? So it is not possible. So therefore, here Prabhupada is confirming, if we continue to engage in service of the Lord, our body, mind, intelligence, everything will get purified. Whatever activities we are doing, for example, um, engaging in service of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, then reading Prabhupada books, association of devotees. Actually, reading Prabhupada books will actually purify our intelligence. Intelligence, actually, determination. Determination is a function of intelligence. So determination to follow, because first of all, when we understand or when we hear the spiritual subject matter or Krishna conscious philosophy, some determination is required to go in that direction, to walk that path. So that intelligence nobody had initially. Just like if we imagine our beginning days, we also don't know anything about the philosophy, and we will have our own ideas of life, how to lead life, how to achieve some perfection, that whatever we have planned. But when we hear Prabhupada books constantly, or when we read Prabhupada books, our intelligence will get purified. We'll understand what is this world, who we are, who is God, what is our relationship with Him, how to revive that relationship. So all these different aspects, we'll start seeing the things as they are. So then when we act in that relationship, because now the revived determination comes about within us to follow this. Then when we act in that capacity, slowly we come out of the influence of the three modes of nature. So therefore, a devotee is not afraid if he is somehow rendering service to the Supreme Lord. He is always liberated situation. That is called Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means even though living within the material body, he is aware who he is in relationship with the Lord. He knows his spiritual identity. And that was the situation of all the kings in the dynasty of Mithila. So very, very special case. Like sage Vasishta, although he was accepted as a priest or the spiritual master for Maharaj Nimi, but he came under the influence of greed. But Maharaj Nimi was not so. So just like we can see, and later, of course, when he again takes birth, Vasishta becomes spiritual master or the priest for the Lord Ramachandra. It is there. So now we can realize, or we can realize, we should, when we read such instances, we should understand what is Srila Prabhupada's position. How much fortunate we are, actually, we don't really sometimes recognize. Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee of the Lord, and he is available for us, and he has left behind all the instructions. And there are, by the help of technology, we have visuals, we have his recordings of classes. So such a pure devotees of the Lord, their message, their instructions is available to us, and we can follow and perfect our life. And here sage Vasishta was counter-cursed, and he has to take birth again. And sage Vasishta's name we hear in Srimad Bhagavatam and so many scriptures. So now you can see, elsewhere I've heard, maybe in future Bhagavatams, Prabhupada's name also may be mentioned. This is what happened in the previous Kali Yuga. This is how he spread. So that is the position of Srila Prabhupada. We should know. Otherwise, sometimes we may consider some great personality who came, he did established some institutions, because many others also might have accomplished some in a different field, establishing an empire of business, starting from scratch. Just like if you see Infosys also, initially there were some few people in a small room, and then how they became big. So we should not consider Prabhupada also on the same line. Oh, he also started somewhere something. Because starting that business and starting the spiritual movement, is a totally two different things. Prabhupada is the one who is recognized as a pure devotee of the Lord, who Lord Krishna and all the demigods, everybody will take note of this. And such a personality we have got as our spiritual master, and his instructions are available, and we should be treasure it. We should know the value of this. Otherwise, if we don't value this great fortune, then we may lose the importance. So, because in the third offense, daily we read 10 offenses. So, what is the third offense? One is, of course, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master and to consider him as an ordinary person. So that is, if we do that, it will be offensive. Why it will become offensive? Because if we consider him as an ordinary person, then we may not take his instructions very seriously. We think that, okay, that time something 50 years back, some instructions he gave. Today, now modern, the world has changed so much. Now I know how to implement. So some things we may end up doing like that. So therefore, to consider the spiritual master as an ordinary person is a offense. So Prabhupada explains, continuing that, because a devotee is not worried whether he is in material body or spiritual body, because he is liberated if he is rendering service to the Lord. Because rendering service to the Lord is a spiritual activity. Just like now all of us are engaged in material activity by the modes of material nature. Material activity means it is concerning about one's own self, because we think we are this body and we want to somehow maximize enjoyment for this body. So that is the meaning of material activity. Material activity means thinking oneself to this body, myself to this body, and thinking others also as their bodies, and somehow we want to create maximum enjoyment for us. That is the understanding. Spiritual concept of life means I am not this body, I am spirit soul, and that spirit is part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit. So I have to be engaged in that service, or I have to cooperate with the Supreme Spirit. So that is the spiritual concept of life. So in the material concept of life, when we are engaged, so if a devotee also is taking a material body, how is that he is in a liberated condition? He also has to go through death. And death is, we see sometimes it is very ghastly, or it may be very painful. So how can we say that he is a liberated condition? So Prabhupada clarifies by saying, in this connection, the example may be given that a cat carries a mouse in its mouth and also carries a kitten in its mouth. Both the mouse and the kitten are carried in the same mouth. Although devotee also goes through death, and other general people also go through death, but the situation is different. Just like the very apt example, mouse in the mouth of cat, and cat is carrying its young ones, kitten also in its mouth. Both looks same, but what is the situation for both the entities? Mouse is very terrified, full of anxiety. What will happen? Why I'm going to die, or how will I escape? So that is the thinking. But what is kitten thinking? Very safe. It is not worried. It is not anxious. So it is a perception which is very, very important. So Prabhupada mentions the perception of the mouse is different from that of the kitten. When a devotee gives up his body, tyaktva deham, he is ready to go back home, back to Godhead. Thus, his perception is certainly different from that of a person being taken away by Yamaraj for punishment. A person whose intelligence is always concentrated upon the service of the Lord is unafraid of accepting a material body, whereas a non-devotee, having no engagement in the service of the Lord, is very much afraid of accepting a material body or giving up his present one. Therefore, we should follow the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahaituki Tvai. It does not matter whether we accept a material body or a spiritual body, our only ambition should be to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this is very, very important. This is in the consciousness. Our only ambition is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead means that's what should be running all throughout in our life. Then we can achieve this state. So, because many times we hear we have to render devotional service, devotional service, devotional service, but actually that is the one which gives all these qualifications. There is no other. We cannot tell anything different. It should be the same. But we can qualify that further, because sometimes service means we only do with the body. Sometimes it happens to us also, very tired, we have to do, let us do like that. It happens. But devotee, a sadhaka should always constantly introspect whether I am fully putting my heart. The purification happens only when we put our heart and do. Otherwise, it is not possible. We may get some sukriti, some punya, because we are doing, instead of engaging in some sinful activity, we are doing the service of the Lord. So that benefit may be there, but that is not the ultimate benefit a devotee is looking for. Devotee simply wants to be engaged in the service of the Lord. He wants to see that Lord Krishna is pleased, his Guru is pleased. So that is the only ambition. By seeing the spiritual master is pleased or Lord Krishna is pleased, the devotee becomes happy. So that is the method of being happy. So here we can see how Maharaj Janaka, who came in the dynasty of Mithila, they were all in complete knowledge of their spiritual identity. So it is said, although they were staying at home, they were liberated from the duality of this material existence. So one who is aware or knowledge what is their spiritual identification, or one who is seeing things as they are. So although they may be living at home, they will be liberated. And in the purport, Prabhupada explains duality. Duality means we cannot understand one thing without the help of another. Say for example, heat and cold. If you have to understand what is heat, there should be something called cold. Otherwise, we cannot understand what is heat. So duality means both should be there. Then only we can understand. Here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, E bhala, e manda, e saba, brahma. Actually in this world sometimes we think, oh, this is very good and this is very bad. Oh, this is very nice situation and this is not so nice situation. But actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, e saba, brahma. Everything is illusion. Because say for example, fish inside the water, that is its natural position, it is happy. Suppose now you remove that fish from the water, already it is on the material, on the land. So when it is on the land, say if you give that fish some nice food stuff, you say that it is very good, or okay, if it is getting beaten or chopped, oh, it is very bad, we may say. But actually if it is out of water, whatever you may give, whatever you may do, everything is bad only. Only in illusion we may think, oh, fish is giving nice food stuff here, so it is like that. So actually, similarly, if we apply it to ourselves, the spirit soul, its original constitutional position is to be with the Lord and keep serving the Lord. And now when it has come to this accepted and artificial situation, being situated in this material body, although we know that this body is changing and one day it is going to, we have to give up. So when we want to give up, we are planning so much, we are working hard so much for comforts of this body and thinking that, oh, this is very nice situation, if I achieve this nice situation, I'll be happy. So actually this is all Brahma, illusion. The only good, because Krishna has also given certificate in the Bhagavad Gita. This world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Means dukkhalayam means you'll definitely get dukkha. Okay, somewhat little comfortable situation we may be in, not so much dukkha is coming. Even that comfortable situation is ashashvatam. It is not going to stay. We have to wind up. So therefore, so-called goodness and badness are both the same. Therefore, in this world, to distinguish between good and bad, happiness and distress is meaningless, because they are both mental concoctions, manodharma. It is only in the mind. Say, for example, somebody says, "This is my favorite." If he gets that, very nice, he tells. That same object which you are telling my favorite, for another person, he may not like it. If you give him, it may be misery for him. So that means these are all in our mind. It is the impression in the mind that we accept, oh, this is very nice and this is very bad. But actually, these are all in the manodharma, only in the mind. Because everything here is miserable and troublesome, to create an artificial situation and pretend it to be full of happiness is simply illusion. So I give this example very often. I mean, of course, Prabhupada has given this example. Just like this finger. Finger is part and parcel of this body. Its duty is to cooperate with the body, be with the body, whatever function is there, like holding, grasping, or taking some food and putting inside. Now just imagine, hypothetically, this finger has got some free will. It can think and will something on its own. So the finger, if it thinks, oh, I am holding this nice rasgulla, why am I giving it to this mouth? I am not getting anything. It is just going inside and going to the stomach. Free will means that means it can think. So when it thinks like that, now it doesn't want to cooperate. Oh, why I should give here? I will only take it. Suppose even if it crushes there only, will it get its enjoyment? No. Same way, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit. We are tiny spirit soul, and we are part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. That's how the constitutional position. That is the truth of life. Now, Krishna has given free will to each of the spirit soul, because it is said, Eko Bahushyama, the one Supreme Lord, he became many. Why? For enjoyment. Because Anandamayobhyasa, that is the purpose of life. That is what Absolute Truth is doing. That means Krishna is doing. He wants to enjoy. He wants to be full of Ananda. So alone you cannot be happy. So he expanded himself into many, many jivas, his own expansions, swamshas, vibhinnamsha, like different, he has expanded. His own pleasure potency becomes Srimati Radharani. So it is not ordinary boy and girl. Imagine Absolute Truth, a living force. He has that pleasure potency. Pleasure potency means capacity to enjoy, capacity to have pleasure, take pleasure. Because he is one. Now if you want to enjoy, how will he display? He himself becomes Srimati Radharani, another person, and there is exchange of love. That is a display of pleasure potency of the Lord. Now Lord is infinite, not just one person. He has infinitely expanded into so many other different capacities. Not everybody is same. Different Jiva Tattva is there, Vishnu Tattva, like that different Tattvas are there, Pancha Tattva we chant. So like that different capacities he has expanded. Now when he has expanded, he has given free will. It is not that when he expanded, oh, now you have to become my friend. Like that he cannot force, then there is no enjoyment. Correct? So when when Lord has expanded like that, he has given free will also to become his friend. But when jivas want to have independent existence, because when there is free will, just like this finger I said, now why I should give to Krishna? I will seek my own this thing. So that time, then Lord, because Lord has given free will, he has to create this another world, another existence, uh, to explore that independent enjoyment. So same way, imagine if this finger, an illusion is created. So I create illusion around this finger. Oh, you want to be independent? So I'll create one, because I have to create that illusion. Because finger cannot be cut off. If you cut off, then finger is dead. So now finger wants to be independent. It doesn't want to cooperate with this body. Now how will you accomplish both? One is it has to be alive. If it has to experience life, it should be alive. That means it should be connected to the body. Now it wants separate understanding. It should be simultaneously part of this body. At the same time, it wants independent, separate existence. Now this can be achieved only in if you put the finger in the illusion. Yes, you are independent. You are separate. Now go on searching like that. So that is our situation actually. In Brahma, in the illusion, we are thinking, I am separate, I am independent. Actually, we are always connected. We can never be separated from the Lord, because we are alive. If we have to be alive, we have to be connected to the supreme living force, because we are also living force. Just like this fan and this light is burning, that means it is connected to the powerhouse, to the wires and power station, like that. So we are also always connected to the Lord. Otherwise, we cannot be alive, because He is a supreme living force, and we are tiny living force. That is a connection. So all this, whatever we imagine, happiness, goodness in this world under the illusion, they're all effect produced by the three modes of material nature. So a liberated soul means he already knows, I am part and parcel of Krishna. He knows things as they are. So when he has come out of such dualities of life, he has to just tolerate. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agamapayino nitya tam stikshasva bharata. This is a solution Krishna is giving. Because we may ask, now we are in this world, some happiness will come, some distress will come. What he is telling? Tam titiksha. Titiksha means tolerate. Tolerate how? Without getting disturbed. That is also one more further qualification Krishna is qualifying. You should, of course, Krishna says, learn to tolerate. We cannot all of a sudden achieve this qualification. He is telling we should learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Because just for one person, for us, few of us, Krishna cannot change the laws of this entire material world, because there are so many other jivas who don't want to surrender to Krishna. So if we learn how to tolerate them without being disturbed, then only we can be in a very, very peaceful condition. And that is a symptom of a person who is fit for liberation. So because the self-realized souls, they know this happiness and distress, they are like this changing seasons, which are perceivable by contact with the material body. And Prabhupada mentions one very important aspect. The body is dead from the very beginning. Actually, our body is just a lump of matter. Just like this table, some stone is there. It is always dead. It's not alive. Similarly, if we analyze, actually one who is alive is the spirit soul, not this body. Body is always dead, because it is just a lump of matter. It has no feelings of happiness or distress. For imagine, when a person is dead, that means he's already dead. Whether you cut the body or whether you burn the body, there is no expression of pain. Or if you give some nice thing, nicely fan the dead body, no use. It will not express any pleasure. That means the spirit soul was living within the body. He goes through that pains and pleasure, not the body. So therefore, this aspect we should always remember. The body has no feelings of happiness or distress. It is the soul which actually goes through this experience. So therefore, we should learn all these aspects which are given in the scriptures, These are all different examples mentioned in this part of Srimad Bhagavatam, how the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi, how they acted in this world. They were performing their duties, but they were always simultaneously very conscious. What is their position? What they have to achieve in life? What is the main ambition? Main ambition should be to achieve our spiritual existence, get situated in the constitutional position of the soul. Otherwise, we may get dragged into different aspects of this material life and forget the main goal of life. Sometimes we may think, oh, if our main ambition is only to serve the Lord, then what happens to other aspects of life? Say sometimes I remember my parents when we are going to college, joining hostel. So your main goal is to study. They will tell only that much. So that doesn't mean that your 24 hours you are only studying. It includes eating, sleeping, some recreation, everything is there. But main goal is, your purpose of joining hostel or joining some college is that you study and you achieve that result. So all other things, eating, sleeping, it is understood, it will happen. So same way, when the scriptures or acharyas, when they say your main ambition is that you should achieve the transcendental service of the Lord, that means all other things, our maintenance, everything should be taken care. But how that maintenance, of course, we can do in a very gorgeous, luxurious way also, in a very simple way also. But Prabhupada has given indication, simple living and high thinking. That means we should work or acquire only that much just to maintain the body and soul together. Comfortable, that's all. Unnecessarily, no, BMW only I want. Like that, then you have to so much work hard. Other than the service of the Lord, you have to do so much to accumulate that much money to increase more and more comforts for the body. So all these principles we should keep in mind. Actually, Prabhupada has given everything. In the history of the world, actually, this much availability, because many great acharyas and devotees have come and gone, but there is no this much record as it is. Instructions or this many compositions, they are not available. It was somehow lost, because those days there was no printing like this. It was only by words it used to be there, or no photograph, maybe some paintings may be there, that's all. But somehow by the grace of Lord Krishna, technological advancement, we are able to record a pure devotee, how he is speaking, how he is talking, and because of the printing, there is also so much Bhakti Vedanta purports are available as it is. So we should take advantage of all these things. Prabhupada writes, or he tells somewhere, if spiritual master can only give instruction, it is we who have to apply and become successful. If you don't become successful, we cannot blame spiritual master not happening, it's not working out like that. But we should check whether are we following all these principles, applying in our life. And although then when it comes to application, there are different levels, at body level, mental, whether my mind, intelligence, everything is aligned. We tell, no, in the court, they will tell order, order, order. What it means? Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. Everything, it should be all three. Not only externally you may be silent, inside peace, mental level, by words, everything it should be in order. So that is the meaning. Not just, okay, sometimes externally we may chant, but inside something else is happening. So therefore, all three places are in both externally, internally, it should be aligned. Such a state, if we achieve, definitely then we will also experience like this. Whether I'm in this body or that, I don't care. I just want to be in the situated in the service of the Lord. Because being situated in the service of the Lord is actually being situated in the kingdom of God, that Prabhupada says in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where it is told, In the second chapter, last verse purport, Prabhupada says, because Krishna says that is a way of godly life, and such a person who has Sita Pragna explanation is giving, and even though he is living within the body, at the time of death, he can easily enter the kingdom of God. So like that, Krishna says, then Prabhupada says that kingdom of God, if you are engaged in devotional service of the Lord, that is as good as kingdom of God. So all these principles we have to carefully study from Prabhupada books and implement the instructions. Constantly we should be checking, because in all other things, everywhere people will check. In our office, some boss will check whether you are working or not. For everywhere there is some checks and validation. But for spiritual life, you yourself has to be the check. No one else will check, because no one, they also don't know what is your position. So therefore, you yourself has to be take responsibility. They say, no, there is some English saying, whatever may happen in this world, whatever so many things may happen in this world, your soul is always in your keeping. The Christian word, the soul is always under your keeping. Nobody can disturb what you can do, what you can think, what you can feel. So that we have to always remember. There is one small story I will share, and then we'll conclude. During Second World War time, Hitler, he was persecuting the Jews. So in one barracks, he captured some Jews and he had put them there. He just wanted to give them some trouble. So among the Jews, there was one very famous psychologist, psychiatrist or psychologist. So they had put, say, about this lecture hall size one barrack, and see, the capacity of this maybe some 100 people may stand. So there he had put some 200 or 300 people deliberately, so that it is very uncomfortable. And it is not that they can go out and all. They are constantly in this. If they want to feel, or if they want to sleep also, somehow they have to sleep there only. And no proper clothes. And even washrooms, they are very limited, or it's not there. Imagine such a situation. They are living for days. So many people. That was one kind of torture he wanted to give to the Jews. In that one, the psychologist also was there. So he writes, or he has mentioned, it is recorded somewhere, although my life externally is so miserable, and it is not under his control, how he can, because the whole regime has taken over, they are helpless, common, simple citizens. They don't know what to do. So he writes, although my freedom, external freedom is gone, such a pathetic condition I am in, but still I always have the prerogative. I can always choose how I can feel about it, how I can think about it. That is always under my control. Of course, he is not telling spiritually, but he has mentioned that how I can think and how I can feel about that situation is always fully under my control. I can decide how I can feel. Either I can feel, oh, what this thing, always be complaining or cursing that situation and become more miserable than it is already there. On the other hand, if I make peace, so, I mean, if you apply our spiritual principles, of course, we may not be in that such a miserable condition. Some definitely will go through some miserable situation, but we can always decide how to think and feel. And how to think and feel, the Shastras are giving direction. Spiritual master is giving direction. How we should respond, how we should conduct our life. So that direction we should always take, and that is always under our control. Nobody can interfere and nobody can take away that. Lord has given that sanction. Full free will is there. So therefore, we have to constantly study Prabhupada's books very, very carefully. That is very, very important, because if you don't study, what happens? We'll not get these directions. So getting that direction is very, very important, and then we can make our life successful.